Gentleman is called Konyo. He's somebody you may want to meet at the end of this day in case you ever want to interact with him. Our education attaché, Marimba, where are you? On this side. Please spend some time with these members of the diaspora. They need your services. Asanteni sana. Your Excellency, mine will be very brief. I want to congratulate you on this visit, national state visit to the Republic of China. Your Excellency, it's of such a great honor for us in our country. We stand here proud. You are here with a vision, you are here with a purpose. And we really want to appreciate and salute your leadership. You have shown us that as a leader, you have a way. You show us the way. You lead us because you have a purpose. And we want to salute you. We want to salute the remarks that you made today at the university, where you made a very futuristic speech that gives proper direction. You challenged us to be ready for what comes to Africa. There are those who have the 50 years, but we're also waiting for our 50 years. But Your Excellency, you've told us to be very prepared. And we thank you for all the steps that you have taken to ensure that our country remains competitive and that we are ready to be part of that century. Your Excellency, here we have Kenyans who live in this part of the diaspora, and I want to appreciate them, beginning with their leader, Gideon. Where are you? Gideon, thank you very much for mobilizing these Kenyans. Your Excellency, here we have lots of professionals. We have, including teachers, people who work in the health sector, in the infrastructure sector, people who are business people. We have a lot of students, and we want to appreciate them. And as the Diaspora Department, we want to say that we stand to support you in all ways. I also want to appreciate in a very special way Mzee Wakazi, Senator Oburu Odinga. I was reserving the best for last, so thank you very much. With those few remarks, I want to invite the Prime CS to make a few remarks and invite His Excellency to
Thank you. Your Excellency, President William Ruto, Your Excellency, the First Lady, Wakenya wenzangu, hamjambo. Muko sawasawa? Muko gangari? Asante sana. Tumekuja pamoja na Mheshimiwa Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Alialikwa kwa ziara rasmi na rais wa taifa hili, na amekuja na nguvu zote kwa sababu tunatilia manani sana urafiki wetu na taifa hili. Kwa hivyo yeye kama kiongozi wetu ametuongoza ili tuzidi kuimarisha uhusiano wetu, na kupitia kwake tutaweza kuweka mikataba nyingi karibu 20 hivi kwa sekta mbalimbali ama vituo mbalimbali ambavyo vinagusa Wakenya pahali popote walipo, na biashara yetu na taifa la Uchina. Kwa hivyo sitaki kusema mengi sana kwa sababu nitaondoa ladha kwa yale ambayo rais angependa kutamka kwa Wakenya walio hapa, na pia kwa wale ambao wanatusikiza kwa runinga katika sehemu mbalimbali. Na nimeongea Kiswahili ili nimkumbushe nyinyi ni Wakenya. Ingawa mnaweza koroga Kimandarin kidogo na Kichina, lakini nyinyi ni Wakenya halisi. Kwa hivyo nilikuwa na mchamsho kidogo ili mjisikie vizuri, na kama ulikuwa sahau neno hapa na pale, tafadhali tafuta kamisi ama kamusi, yani dictionary. Ni kamusi, sivyo? Kamisi. Ama mimi ndio nimesahau. Asante sana. Sasa ndio hiyo nilikuwa nataka nisikie. Kwa hivyo nadhani tuko tayari sasa kumkaribisha Mheshimiwa Rais naye atuongeleshe, ama vipi? Basi. Mwenyekiti. Ndio Gideon Simatwa. Nyokosei. Haya, basi. Uwanja ni wako. Asante.
Your Excellency, our President, William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the First Lady, Your Excellency, the Head of our mission, Willie Bett, Your Excellency, Deputy Ambassador, all protocols observed, fellow Kenyans, I salute you all. Good evening. I want to welcome you all to this Diaspora Beijing meeting. I am Nyokosei Gideon Kimngetich, President of Kenyans Community in China. I want to assure you all that here in China, hakuna matata. Mr. President, we've got delegations of Kenyans who live, study, work, and do business in China. Others are investors. They are here to have a conversation with you. The students are led by Hemston. Hemston, where are you? The expatriates led by Karani. Thank you. And the business community is led by David Chimuti. Please. Your trip, Mr. President, to China is enlightening. Your coming here will forever be remembered. Partnering with China is one of the boldest steps you've taken in ushering Kenya into a strong economy. We love you for that. Secondly, I want to appreciate the presence of different dignitaries who stood by in ensuring that they get to learn on how you are doing your job by coming with you to China. You are a great father who will leave inheritance to the future generation. Our leaders, we've been given an opportunity to work with the president in ensuring that we don't let Kenya down. To improve on our economy, this is my suggestion. The parastatals that we have, like the tourism sector, the curbs, should have license offices in China so that they can guide us and they can traverse the market and understand how this economy has been improving and transfer the same technology to us in Kenya, also including KRA. We also desire to give priority to students who have worked here and to teachers and other workforce who have been here in China to be absorbed back home in Kenya so that they can transfer the same skills to our economy. Through the Office of the President, I would like to invite the CS Education to come and do a study case on how CBC has been working in China. It's still working, and it's becoming better and better every time. And I've seen we have adopted CBC. China has excelled in it, so we need to appreciate. Mr. President, karibu sana China. Enjoy your stay. I would love to say more, but I know the time is of essence. But before I leave, I also want to thank you for the first time we feel the embassy so much. The mission in Beijing is of the best. Led by our Deputy Ambassador, always is a big sister to us. She studied here, and she understands the assignment. She goes city to city, trying to meet Kenyans, and even our leader, Ambassador Willie Bate, visits even the prisoners because they are Kenyans. And he sometimes anachangianga pesa kidogo ya kupiga simu nyumbani. This means our mission is not well funded. So you need to consider also, in China it's a big land, and our office here must be funded well so that it can achieve the goals. Kwa haya machache, nashukuru sana na karibu.
Thank you. Your Excellency, I think, let me not waste any more time. Karibu, if you can all stand and just stretch and clap for His Excellency the President. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's take our seats. Asante sana. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Hamjambo. It's a privilege for me to be here at this point in time while undertaking a state visit to this great country. As you're all aware, the relationship between Kenya and China is 62 years old. In fact, it is documented that China was the 4th country to recognize Kenya as an independent state only 2 days after independence. And it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes of the strength and depth of the relationship between Kenya and China. My visit here underscores that solid foundation built over many years to cement the relationship between our country and China. As you are aware, China has been instrumental in matters, infrastructure, and general development in our country. We have built the standard gauge railway, 600 kilometers from Mombasa to Naivasha with a partnership of China. We have built the Lamu port that now has 3 berths that are complete with the support of China. We have built the Nairobi Expressway that today facilitates the journey from the airport to the CBD, a journey that sometimes would take up to 2.5 hours. Today, it takes between 10 and 15 minutes. And with China, we have also built the Thika Superhighway, a piece of infrastructure that we have now extended from Thika to Kenol all the way to Maroa in Nyeri. And we are in discussion on many other aspects. I know many people here know that some of the roads to rural Kenya have been built with technology and companies supported by this country. And so we have a robust relationship between Kenya and China. And my visit this time round, being the first head of state to visit after the FOCAC meeting last year, speaks to the value China attaches to Kenya and the friendship that exists between our two countries. And we all know that there is a lot happening today globally. And sometimes people ask, and they ask me, Is Kenya facing east to China, or is it facing west to the US? And I have answered that question that Kenya is neither facing east nor west. We are facing forward. And we want to build mutually beneficial win-win relationships with as many friends as possible. And my mission here this time round is to discuss, amongst many things, how we can invest in the future, not just of Kenya, but of our region, with support and partnership of friends like China and others. I have already had conversations on investment opportunities. Many people get worried that we are only discussing loans and credit and things like those. I want to tell you that we are becoming more innovative in how to finance development. There are new instruments that can enable us deliver on public infrastructure using private resources and technology. And that is the kind of conversation we are having with both the public and the private sector in China. We are having a conversation, for example, on how to develop the Rironi-Mau Summit Road, making that road a 6-lane piece of infrastructure from Nairobi to beyond Nakuru. That discussion is among the discussions we are having with both the public and private sector here. And it is my belief that we should be able to begin that construction between June and July this year and take it to its logical conclusion. Beyond Mau Summit, we should be able to take it all the way to the border in Malaba. That is the request I have from the people of Kenya, and we are actively working on it. We will also be concluding discussions on the development of road infrastructure. I was here last year, and we signed off on a 2 billion RMB facility that will help us conclude some of the roads in Kenya. We will be discussing investments in other areas of water and how we can leverage the private sector to drive that development of infrastructure. That is why I have officials from the Ministry of Water here. We will be discussing interventions on connectivity between Kenya and China, discussing the connectivity in terms of direct flights between this country and Kenya. Very importantly, we will be discussing trade. As you are aware, we have trade that is growing between our two countries. In fact, statistics show that we are all the way to $8 billion of trade between Kenya and China. Our concern as Kenya is that that trade is not balanced. And it is the conversation we are having. And tomorrow, we will be signing a framework agreement on the economy and trade. And that framework agreement is going to give us the opportunity to discuss a bilateral trade agreement between Kenya and China. And I just had a meeting this afternoon with the Prime Minister, and he agreed with me that that trade needs to be balanced. As you are aware, Kenya is importing close to $4.5 billion of goods and services from China. And yet, we are exporting only about $200 or $250 million. I mean, in Kenya shillings terms, we are exporting about 30 billion shillings to China and importing 600 billion shillings from China. That kind of relationship, we all agree, is not sustainable, is not balanced, and therefore needs a thorough conversation. It is one of the pertinent issues that I have come to sign off the agreement, because immediately we are going to discuss on how we can bring down the barriers on market access by Kenyan tea, Kenyan coffee, Kenyan macadamia, Kenyan avocado, and all other Kenyan products into this country. It is the most feasible way for us to balance trade. As you are all aware, our tea and coffee are premium products globally. In fact, Chinese companies admit that Kenyan tea and coffee is premium coffee, but today it is subjected to tariffs, and that is what impedes the export of our tea and coffee and macadamia and avocados to this country. And the discussion we are going to have is how we can have a preferential trade agreement that gives Kenya preferential access, the same way we have a AGOA that gives duty-free, quota-free access for our goods to the US. The discussion we're going to have is that of a duty-free, quota-free access to the Chinese market for our products. That way, we can export more to this country, export better products, and we're going this time around to be exporting processed agro-products into this market. I am very happy that we have made tremendous progress in this pursuit. I remember when I appointed Willie Bett here, my assignment to him was we must open the Chinese market. I am happy that now the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment is aligned. And I came here with Lee Kinyanjui, CS responsible, and his assignment is clear, that by the end of this year, we must have a preferential trade agreement between Kenya and China that will give us market access for our products. In fact, immediately we sign the framework agreement tomorrow, Lee Kinyanjui and team might remain behind to make sure that they progress the conversation towards a preferential trade agreement shortly. And so I am very happy to be in this great city, and I want to congratulate all of you, whether you are students, or professionals or business people for daring abroad and doing what you're doing in China, either sharpening your skills in schools, colleges, and universities, or you are deploying your knowledge and expertise in the professional space here in China, or those of you who are doing business. And when I ran for president, I did commit that I will have a diaspora department whose business it will be to manage the affairs of Kenyans in diaspora, to respond to their issues, and to serve them so that we can better leverage on the expertise, the knowledge, the efforts of people in diaspora to drive the development of our country. I'm very happy with what Roslyn Jogu, my PS for Diaspora Affairs, working under PCS here, and him and his team with Isaiah here, and all the other members of that team will continuously work with the embassy staff to see to it that Kenyans in the diaspora are served as best as we can, just the same way we work for the rest of Kenyans at home. Finally, I am sure you're following on developments back home in terms of the implementation of our program and our plan. Just so that you know, our housing program is underway. We have close to 150,000 houses being built around Kenya. Majority of them will be ready this year. In fact, I will be handing over keys to the first 4,000 units next month, and it will be continuous. You now have an opportunity working in the diaspora to buy some of those housing units. You do not have to depend on your family members or your friends, who I am told occasionally run away with your money. You will now have a place to buy a house without any hassle. And the ministry responsible for housing will let you know how you can book for a unit online. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need any brokers. You don't need to see anybody. You can book a unit online. And somebody's going to tell you exactly how that is done shortly. To also tell you that I did commit that we are going to have a different savings culture. As you are aware, since independence, we have been paying a very small fraction for our social security. In fact, up to 2 years ago, we were paying 200 shillings for everybody to National Social Security Fund. And in 60 years, we only managed to save 320 billion shillings. In fact, we have a smaller social security, smaller than Tanzania and smaller than Uganda, yet we have a bigger economy. But I made the decision that we are going to change the regulations and the law governing savings in Kenya. Why? Because investment is a function of savings. You cannot invest if you don't have any savings. You have nothing to invest. And just for your information, China, savings in China is 55% of their GDP. In Kenya, we were at 8%, maybe 9%, maybe 10%. It is my intention to push savings as a percentage of GDP to between 25 and 30%. That is where a majority of countries are. And because of the changes we have made, the good news is that while we collected or saved 320 billion shillings for 60 years, in 2 years, we have doubled our savings, just in 2 years. By the end of this year, we will have 650 billion shillings saved because of the changes we have made. And by 2027, we will have 1 trillion saved. That is why I am not very popular with people who don't want to save. But for the people who want to save, they know what difference that is making. And that is how we are going to stop borrowing from other countries. We will be borrowing from our own savings to finance our own development. And if we must pay interest, let us pay interest to our own workforce in Kenya who are saving, instead of paying interest for, I don't want to mention countries where we are borrowing, where we are borrowing money. You know, the money we are borrowing from China, for example, is savings of the Chinese people, right? And you know that we are paying interest, and we are not paying small money. Why would we not pay Kenyans who are saving? That's the question I ask. So I'm very happy with the progress that we are making, and progressively people are beginning to see the reality of some of the interventions we are undertaking. I am also sure that you are aware that we have reformed our funding of our education system. We have straightened the CBC program that your chairman